Blackhawks fall to the Kings 3-1. And honestly, this is going to be one of the quicker game recaps of this season. This was just flat out a real boring game. Not a lot of chances either way. This game started with a Connor Bedard deflection goal in the first period. He had a real good shift. His line had a real good shift, but him specifically started with a strip of Drew Doughty in the neutral zone, and he took the puck up the ice. Connor did, and got a quality shot off. And then later in the shift, he tipped in an Ilya Mikheyev shot to get the Blackhawks on the board. It would be the Blackhawks' only goal of the night. And while they probably played better than the Kings did in the first period, there weren't a ton of chances either way. And that really continued into the second period, especially for the Blackhawks, who struggled. They put together another bad second period versus a Kings team that was playing in a back-to-back. This was the second game of a back-to-back, and the Blackhawks failed to take control. In fact, they let the game slip away in the second period by allowing 2 goals to the Kings. The first one was an Alex Lafreniere shot on a 2-on-1 after Sam Rinzel turned the puck over in his own zone on the blue line. Not too upset over that for Rinzel, because you want him to use his skills. He's very good on the blue line, and mistakes like that are going to happen. Just unfortunate that this one ended up in the back of his net. And then quickly right after that, Kevin Fiala scored for the Kings. Weren't like terrible goals Arvid gave up. Probably would have liked him to stop one of those two, but overall he played fine. He stopped 19 of 21 shots, and this one was a fine game from him. There just weren't a lot of high quality chances either way, because after the second period, which was again super slow for the Blackhawks, it was kind of similar to the Vancouver game like a week or so ago, where the Vancouver was coming in on the second night of a back-to-back. Blackhawks that were in prime position to put the game out of reach after being up after the first period, and then they let Vancouver get back in the game when there's no reason to. So just bad second period in this one as well. And then in the third period, Blackhawks really just could not turn it on, as LA wins this one 3-1 as they put in an empty net goal as the clock was winding down. Quick injury update from this game. Ilya Mikheyev unfortunately left early in the third period. He got tripped and then slid into the boards pretty hard and was very slow to get up. It sounded like he went straight to the locker room after that play, so he did not take another shift after that sequence. So he is, I guess, currently day-to-day. We'll get more updates in the coming days here. We'll see about his availability for Tuesday. And the only other thing I really wanted to bring up regarding this one was the Blackhawks power play, which went 0 for 5 and looked really, really bad in this one. They really generated practically no chances in their 5 power play attempts, really like 4.5 because one was shortened, but it doesn't really matter because it was just so bad today, and that obviously hurt them as they weren't able to generate any offense really 5-on-5, and then the power play was just a disaster. Late game, end of the game, they got a power play with 3 minutes to go, and it looked terrible. They had a real tough time entering the zone. They kept just dumping it in, and LA would just ice the puck right back down because they just got no pressure, and it just really looked bad. So that's been kind of a struggle, even though I think they had power play goals in like 4 of their last 5 or something heading into this game. It really just feels like all season it hasn't been a strong suit for the Blackhawks, maybe like it was last season, where I believe they finished top 10 in the league for the power play. But yeah, just was not clicking this tonight, and it has been a bit of a struggle, but really let them down tonight. And that's really all the takeaways I have from this game. Only other thing really, looking at the box score, Teravainen 5 shots, really the only other interesting thing from this game. Blackhawks did win in the faceoff circle, which definitely is a positive. LA has some decent centers down the middle with Kopitar, with Deneau. I don't know how good Quentin Byfield is, but he's another center. I'm just listing the center, but Deneau and Kopitar are definitely both plus faceoff guys. So it was encouraging to see Bedard have a good day at the dot. Green had a good day at the dot. So that is, I guess, one positive takeaway, but that's really it. Not a whole lot of takeaways from this game. I do post on Twitter at Blackhawks Focus after each game, asking you guys for your takeaways. Not a ton today. Not a lot of people, I don't think, had any takeaways from that game. So we'll read over the ones we do have here. First period looked decent, kept it in the O zone and had it moving well with good shots on goal. Second and third periods looked flat, didn't win many puck battles, and didn't pass well. needed some points. These 2 games, the tough 4-game stretch coming up. Yeah, it's going to be kind of a tougher. Well, they have a game Tuesday versus Ottawa, and then they go on the road for 6 games in a difficult road trip from the travel perspective. So, yeah, would have been nice to get a point in this one. We'll see. They play Ottawa. That's definitely a game you want to get some points in. But yeah, really just kind of a dud tonight. First period was fine, but even then they didn't generate a ton of chances. But at least they played better than their opponent. Next one here, don't put Chicago games on my birthday. They lose every year they do. That's noted. We'll see. We'll see. I'll see what I can do about that. Next one, not sure what happened after period 1. Yeah, really, that's been a bit of a problem. They haven't really been able to put together full 60-minute efforts. Off the top of my head, I feel like the Tampa game was pretty good from start to finish, I believe. But that's just off the top of my head. But it feels like in a lot of games, I'm coming on here saying there was talking about a certain period and saying that was not a good period for the Blackhawks, or it was a really slow or boring period for the Blackhawks, and they just feel like they have not been able to put together full games this season. And yeah, this one wasn't even close to a full game, as they were outplayed for at least 40 minutes tonight. Last one here, there's going to be rough games like this every once in a while. Last 2 periods looked awful, need to bounce back on Tuesday with a tough 6-game road trip. Yeah, I really agree with that one. I think that sums this up pretty well. You got to remember there's going to be, dud games. There's going to be bad games over the course of the season. This one just kind of felt like one that they never really got things going, even though they played fine in the first period. They just couldn't really step on the gas, couldn't really apply too much pressure, couldn't really get things going, and they end up taking a loss. Again, that's going to happen throughout the course of a season, so I'm not going to read into it too much. We'll see how they respond on Tuesday versus Ottawa. That's going to be the next game for the Blackhawks and the next game recap here on the channel. So yeah, that's everything I have from this one. Blackhawks lose 3-1 versus the LA Kings.